Got a little problem with my Ariens tractor. It's made by Husqvarna. Wheel bushings are shot. So I'm going to be taking those off and replacing them. I'll upgrade to bearings. So I'll be showing you how to knock those out and put the bearings in and get her back on the lawn, not the road. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the wheel off now. There should be a cap and an extra washer on this that holds the cap, but the cap disappeared a long time ago. But basically there's a clip there on the wheel that sits in a groove that holds the wheel on. The hardest part of this is getting down on the ground to work on. Let me check the aim of the camera because I am going to push that down to the ground as I try to take the clip off. I want to make sure that's in the video. Yeah, that's probably not going to work. Let's zoom it out a little bit. That way you should be able to see the clip coming off and the wheel coming off. Okay, so just getting a screwdriver under there and catching the little clip. Hopefully you can see that. Just slips on a groove. And there's a couple washers here. And the wheel comes off. Next thing to do is going to be to punch the bearings out. So that I can replace them. So I've got my tires and wheels sitting up on the hood of the tractor because my shop's all cluttered with my Corvette project. But basically what I'm doing is trying to catch on the lip of the bearing on the other side to drive it out. There it is. Flip it over, and then this one is a little bit easier to do because I've already got the bearing out of this side, so I can put it more straight. Full disclosure, I have had these out before, so that's why they probably came out as easy as they did. I will be doing both tires, so what I'm doing is I'm upgrading to bearings instead of bushings. So the bushing, the axle sits in there and it just rotates on the axle. It's a hardened surface, so it doesn't wear very quickly. The bearing, there's bearings between the outer part of the race and the inner part that goes on the axle. Just real quickly, I'm not going to video this, but I am going to make sure it slips on the axle, and it's a bit tight. It's probably a good thing, but there's probably grease and stuff built up on here, rust. I'm going to have to take a wire wheel or something and clean that off before I go any further. So there's the axle. I'm going to clean it up with a wire wheel, which I should invest in a new one. This one's awfully worn, but hopefully it will get the job done. Hopefully that's all I need to do. Actually needs to go on this way. That is a tight fit. I think I need a heavier duty tool to clean that up. I'm going to get my angle grinder out. I test fit this into the wheel already. So what I may do is I may just leave this on here and set the wheel on it because it went in easily. It didn't need to be pounded. Since it needs to be apparently pounded onto the axle, that will be the easier way to go. But in the meantime, just going to try to clean it up a little bit more with some sandpaper to get in closer to the end of the axle. Don't want to be too forceful on that. I've got it part way on. There. Take the one out that I had already put in the axle. It didn't take any effort really to put it in, so there. Gonna test fit this one on the axle as well. It goes on very nicely. So now I am going to put the axle on that one. And I probably need to move the camera. I may want to get that off and put it on the right way. Never goes according to plan. Let's see which way it needs to go. Maybe I will put it on that way since it doesn't seem to want to come off. Just position this a little better. This one went on pretty easy. So let's try this again. Put it over that bearing. Ooh. That was close. Easy before. Apparently the trick is get it lined up very good. Has to be perfectly aligned because the tolerances are pretty narrow. So that is no longer play in the bearings, that's play in the suspension. What we have here are washers for spacing it and a new clip to hold it on and a new big washer to hold the cap on. So they've given me 4 washers of this size. 2 big washers to hold the cap on, 2 clips. So all we got to do is slide the clip on. That takes a little bit of effort because it needs to be tight. good trick to get these on easily. It's hard to get a hammer in there because of the depth of the rim. You get something in there, you just can't get a swing. That's going to take some playing around to get that in there. Unfortunately, the washer is pretty much as big as the clip, so you got to get it on just the clip, and it's got to be able to, your tool has to be able to slide past the washer. Let me see if I can find a better tool for this. Possibly a pair of channel locks. Let's try the channel locks. I get the bottom jaw on the bottom of the, and this is tricky too, you got to get it in the right groove to have that right amount of travel on the jaws. Or it won't go down. And you got to just catch the lip of that, there you go. Just catch the lip of the clip, but not enough to catch the washer. So that side, once I put this boot on, is done. Those bearings are pre-greased, and I really honestly don't believe that putting any more grease into that hub is really going to help any, because it's rolling on the bearings that are greased, not on the place where the bearing rides on the axle. Okay, I'm going to see if I can do this one quicker now that I've done it on the other side and know which techniques work the best. Okay, that's cap is off. Screwdriver under and pry the clip off. That went flying, I got This has two big washers that are the size of that clip. Okay. While I'm down here, I'm going to test fit of these. And know it's going to need to be cleaned up, which is not a surprise. And I didn't bring my sandpaper with me. Let's see how we're doing so far though. Do a little bit of sandpapering on it. This is a very fine sandpaper. .180 grit. As sandpaper goes, that's fairly mild. Okay, that one is on, so I'm going to take the bushings out of the wheel. So this is going to be the same deal as before. Just get in there with a chisel or a punch or whatever you have, catch the edge of the bushing on the other side. Trying to hit it from both angles. Didn't hear it fall. It's moving a little bit. Didn't hear it fall out, but there it is. Okay, it's going to be flipping it over and doing the other side. Oops, already had it flipped over. Sure I can. I got it in the frame and it's recording. I don't see it moving yet. Now that one's still not moving. I am going to try something else if I have. That is a bushing that's nearly the same size of that, so that I can just hit it square in the middle. Okay, this is something not everybody probably has, but my brother gave them to me for some heavy equipment from his work. They were worn out ones. Look at that. You get a straight hit on it, pops right out. So let me test this for how easy these are going to fit into the wheel, because if they don't fit in easily, there might be a problem. Yeah, they're going to go in easily. That's as easily as the other side went in. So let's try the other side here. Yep, if it doesn't go in, I can use one of the bushings I tried as a driver. So I'm going to move the camera again. So there's the spindle with the one bearing already started on it. Take the wheel, making sure I have the grease fitting inside and the valve stem outside, because they don't fit the other way. bushing or on the bearing. Just get this lined up straight so that it goes on easily. That's the trick here. Once you get them lined up the way they're supposed to be, they go right on. Two washers. I need to pop this in a little bit. Need to get the bigger bushing because, and you could use a socket for this, as long as it fits over the end of the axle. So a large socket works just as well. But I have these, so instead of nicking up one of my sockets, potentially, I can just use this. Make sure that's two washers because there does appear to be a little bit of play more so on this side than the other. But the big washer for the boot, the clip, goes on. Make sure it's in the groove in all three places, top, bottom, and the middle. That's what keeps it from popping out. And just shove your boot over that. It's done. Not too hard. Key points are clean up the axle. Make sure when you're putting those bearings on the axle that you're putting them on as straight as possible, because that makes it easier to go on. Actually enables it to go on, because without having them lined up, it's not going anywhere without you smashing it on, and that is not the way to go because you can damage the inside. So, well, the lawnmower is ready to cut some more grass. This is 11 years old. That's about the time that all my other lawnmowers have had something major that wasn't worth fixing going on. So those bearings were $15 and some change, let's say 16. Got them off of Amazon. So I don't know the company actually, but we're good to go. Thanks for watching.